Good morning, Little Masters, and welcome back to today's Tolkien Times at Prancing Pony Podcast production. I'm the Man of the West, and we're going to continue what we've been doing since week 50 here on Third Age Thursdays. That's looking at the poetry and songs from The Lord of the Rings. Sadly, just a few more weeks to go. Last week, we listened to the herb master in Minas Tirith dismiss When the Black Breath Blows, and Legolas sing Silver Flow the Streams. This week, we sing with Sam in the darkest of places, and listen as Legolas sings his farewell. We start in the terrifying Tower of Cirith Ungol. At last, weary and feeling finally defeated, Sam sat on a step below the level of the passage floor and bowed his head into his hands. It was quiet, horribly quiet. The torch that was already burning low when he arrived sputtered and went out, and he felt the darkness cover him like a tide. And then, softly to his own surprise, there at the vain end of his long journey and his grief, moved by what thought in his heart he could not tell, Sam began to sing. His voice sounded thin and quavering in the cold tower, the voice of a forlorn and weary hobbit that no listening orc could possibly mistake for the clear song of an elven lord. He murmured old childish tunes out of the Shire, and snatches of Mr. Bilbo's rhymes that came into his mind like fleeting glimpses of the country of his home. And then, suddenly, new strength rose in him, and his voice rang out, while words of his own came unbidden to fit the simple tune. In western lands beneath the sun, the flowers may rise in spring, the trees may bud, the waters run, the merry finches sing. Or there may be 'tis cloudless night, and swaying beeches bear the elven stars as jewels white amid their branching hair. Though here at journey's end I lie in darkness buried deep, beyond all towers strong and high, beyond all mountains steep, above all shadows rides the sun, and stars forever dwell. I will not say the day is done, nor bid the stars farewell. Beyond all towers strong and high, he began again, and then he stopped short. He thought that he had heard a faint voice answering him. Now, in The War of the Ring, we learned that Tolkien had this idea of Sam singing in Cirith Ungol since late 1941. Now, at that time, he'd written a brief synopsis of the story post-Lorien. In it, Frodo would be captured and taken to a tower. Sam would then, quote, do a thing of daring and sing. Tolkien at first thought he'd sing Troll Song or some other Hobbit tune, but then changed his mind as he was writing the notes, saying, or possibly part of the elves' song O Elbereth. Yes, he put that in parentheses. By the time he got to working on this section of the story about 7 years later, he changed his mind yet again and wrote this poem for Sam to sing. But in between, in an earlier version, there was a verse that made this song more intensely personal and really, really sad. But still I sit and think of you, I see you far away, walking down the homely roads on a bright and windy day. It was merry then when I could run to answer to your call, could hear your voice or take your hand, but now the night must fall. And now beyond the world I sit and know not where you lie. Oh, master dear, will you not hear my voice before we die? Man, that hits hard. Poor Sam. I mean, his heart is just breaking here. The idea of singing while looking for a prisoner is not a new idea, right? Tolkien isn't the first one to come up with this. It's also not even new for Tolkien. We saw it with Fingon singing to try to find Maedhros, and Luthien singing to find Beren in Tol Ingaurhoth, the Isle of Werewolves. But it is an older motif than that, as Skull and Hammond tell us in the collected poems of J.R.R. Tolkien, where they write, it seems certain, from a reference to Richard Coeur de Lion and the Minstrel, Tolkien made in a letter to the composer Donald Swann, that the episode of Sam's song was inspired by the legend of the minstrel Blondel Nenel, searching for King Richard I of England after his master was captured by Leopold of Austria while returning from the Crusades and held for ransom. Blondel went from castle to castle, singing one of Richard's favorite songs until the king joined in, revealing his presence. Now, not for the first time, and actually probably for the last time, I'm going to go out of sequence here and move to Legolas singing To the Sea. That's so that we can finish up our Lord of the Rings poems over the next 2 weeks with two of the most memorable songs, Long Live the Halflings next week, and Sing Now, Ye People, to close out the series. Guess I better start thinking of what I'm going to do for Third Age Thursdays in Series 12. I've been doing these poems for so long. So after the ring is destroyed and the company reunited, a long day of celebration ensues. Gimli says the hobbits need their rest. To bed now you go, and so shall I. But Legolas has different plans. And I, said Legolas, shall walk in the woods of this fair land, which is rest enough. In days to come, if my elven lord allows, some of our folk shall remove hither, and when we come, it shall be blessed for a while. For a while, a month, a life, 100 years of men. But Anduin is near, and Anduin leads down to the sea. To the sea, to the sea, to the sea. The white gulls are crying. The wind is blowing, and the white foam is flying. West, west away, the round sun is falling. Grey ship, do you hear them calling? The voices of my people that have gone before me. I will leave the woods that bore me, for our days are ending, and our years failing. I will pass the wide waters lonely sailing. Long are the waves on the last shore falling. Sweet are the voices in the lost isle calling. In Eressia, in elven home that no man can discover, where the leaves fall not, land of my people forever. And so singing, Legolas went away down the hill. Now, in the brief narrative that I read before the verse, we see Legolas speak of future plans. Those plans will come to fruition as Legolas dwells in Ithilien until he sails over the sea with Gimli. But the verse, the sea calling has gotten stronger, and Legolas aches to leave. More than that, he knows our days are ending and our years failing. It's not the elves' time anymore. It's time for men to step up. And so we, the elves, will leave and return to Elvenhome, the eternal dwelling of his people, where it's never winter, where the leaves fall not. Folks, thank you for joining me for this week's Third Age Thursday. Be sure to come back tomorrow as we go back to the very beginning with First Age Fridays. Check out patreon.com/Tolkien Times to learn how you can support the show, get an ad-free feed, join my content council, get a bonus episode every week, and more. Podcast listeners, please subscribe to the show in your podcast apps. On YouTube, just click subscribe to this channel to get all of the PPP productions. And be sure you're following @PrancingPonyPod on all your social media. Finally, as Faramir says, go with the goodwill of all good men.